Lots of things to take away from Regional Council yesterday, so we invited a couple of councillors who were right in the middle of it on our show this morning. One of the biggest issues on the agenda, and you've seen in our newscast again this morning, was the Cornwallis debate. Council voting yesterday to revisit this debate over the founder's name on city landmarks and, of course, the statue downtown as well. This after the same motion was voted down last year, but this is a new year, this is a new council, and it's time to talk about it once again as we welcome in two councillors, District 9 Councillor Shawn Cleary and also District 6 Councillor Tony Mancini. Got it right. District 9, District 6.
A little pause there, but it's okay.
Exactly, yes. Thanks, guys. Good morning. Thanks for
morning.
So yesterday, Regional Council Cornwallis came back up again. Shawn, why did you want to make this a part of Council once again?
Well, so I'll back up for a second. It is a new council, it is a new year, and it is also a new motion. So it's actually slightly different than last year's motion, and I think that's why it got much more support. In fact, it won 15 votes to 1 vote.
So how is it different?
So there's two parts to it. The first part is revisiting Cornwallis. So looking at how we commemorate our past, and specifically starting with Cornwallis and the name on our municipal assets like the park and the street. But the second part of the motion is how do we recognize and commemorate the Indigenous history here in Halifax?
Okay.
And so I think that was something that was missing last year and something that councillors really wanted to make sure that we looked at this time. But also the motion was different too in that we're not looking at some sort of grand public engagement process. The motion calls for an expert panel to be struck.
Okay.
We're talking about an inclusive panel. I'm hoping there will be people from our Mi'kmaq community on it. But more importantly, or as importantly, historical experts, so that they can look at the facts, they can look at the context, and also look at the perspective we have now from 2017. How do we move forward from here? And how do we build a partnership, a friendship with our Mi'kmaq friends and neighbours here in Halifax?
I'm interested to know how much in each of your ridings this is talked about. Because we talk about it all the time here on the news because it's a very talkative subject. People are so divided on it. So how much are people actually focusing on this in your constituency?
Paul, first of all, I got to share with you, when Shawn first brought this up at the last council meeting that he was going to bring this forward, I said to myself, why is he bringing this up again? Because last time there was so much controversy around it, and to answer your question, there was lots of discussion. So this time around he brings it up, once again, lots of discussion, lots of emails, lots of phone calls, and so it's interesting. The discussion it's all over the board. And I've discovered there's a lot of self-appointed historians in HRM, which is fine, and they have a strong opinion on both sides of it. And let's be clear on that motion that Shawn brings forward. We are not getting rid of the statues and the signs. That's not what Shawn's saying. Okay. He said, let's have a discussion. A lot of people are fearful of that. And, I also have to share with you, I was a little disappointed in some of the emails that I got. Were actually downright racist, Paul. The comments and the comments they made about the Aboriginal people. And that's very disturbing because this is a community that I embrace, that I love, as all of us do, and it's very inclusive. We try to make it that much more inclusive. So I think this topic is really good. So there's lots of conversation around it. The expert panel, I think, is key. Yeah. That's the experts, and not the self-appointed historians, but those that truly understand this. And I'm not sure where Shawn's going to get these experts from. I assume the universities and such. But let's have them have the conversation. Let's have them say, here's our recommendation. And then as council, we can have that discussion and we can have that debate. We'll also listen to our residents and then make that decision.
Well, Chorus owns a History Channel. Maybe we could make some kind of show about picking the expert panel. How do you go about doing that?
Well, luckily, I don't have to. I mean, we can all have input and forward names, but our staff will pick it. And what I'm hoping is they'll work with our Office of Diversity and Inclusion and look at, there's no shortage of experts here in Atlantic Canada between, universities like Dal and the Mount and St. Mary's. St. Mary's has the Gorsbrook Research in Atlantic Canada Studies, the Institute. And so there are lots of experts right here, and so we don't have to go very far. But to Tony's point in your question, the discussion is a little bit all over the map. And when this came forward in May last year, I was just kicking off my election campaign because we had our election last year. Yeah. And so the very first blog post I wrote was about Cornwallis and the council decision. And I found it ironic that in the same week that the city council appointed Rebecca Thomas, who's our poet laureate, an Indigenous woman, they voted down this in a very close vote, 8-7. And so that irony stuck with me, and so I was very passionate about this, and I put this out there, and I remember knocking on doors a few days later, and I told the woman who I was and what I was doing there, and she said, "Stop, you had me at Cornwallis."
Okay.
The very next day, I was canvassing in a different area, and a woman berated me for even bringing this up. And so it is divided. Yeah. And what I think we need to do is our job is to lead. It's to educate the public on the issues and find those experts who can educate the public on these issues, then bring that forward and then have the discussion. So, I mean, first of all, staff has to put together the expert panel. They have to put the terms of reference for the panel together, what they're going to do, what their mandate is. That comes back to us. We approve that. Then they actually have to go out and do the work. So this is a process that's going to take some time, and hopefully in the fullness of time, it will help educate the public on the issue.
Well, certainly, as you mentioned, very polarizing topic that the public likes to weigh in on, whether it's here on our show or on News Talk Radio. So we'll be following along as we move along the next steps in this ongoing debate. Guys, thanks so much for coming in.
No, thank you.
Councillors Tony Mancini and Shawn Cleary. We're not late for this interview. That's great. Halifax Regional Council. Find out more, globalnews.ca/Halifax. We're all over it on social media, Facebook, and at Global Halifax as well. And you, by all means, can weigh in on our Facebook page what you think of this issue.